I think one thing we need to reference.
Well, welcome to the show, ballers. We've got here a special guest here. Earlier this week, we had Mort on from the Crazy Horse fame franchise. And tonight we've got none other than Laces Out himself, number 2 in the power rankings. And I believe he's is he 2 in scoring or I'm number 2? I think I'm number 2 and Nick's 3 meets number 1, but he's 5-0, dude. So let's give him a little bit of kudos, a little cred there. So welcome to the show, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Haven't missed an episode yet. Like the show, like what you did with the program, and hope it keeps rolling.
Well, excellent. I hope people are listening, and as it gets going, because if they don't, they're going to miss out on a lot of knowledge. Okay, so this is where you tune in for tips and player projections, outlooks, recaps, and of course, previews. So here you are. What do you got to say for yourself?
Well, feeling pretty good about the start of the season. Happy that there's football in the first place. I was getting worried there in July and August that we weren't going to have this season. How bad would that be to go without a fall without any football?
Well, yeah, that's exactly. I was talking on the Mortcast. I don't know if you caught that, but I said,
Yep.
every time I see a game, it's like I feel like I'm getting away with something
Yeah.
because we almost didn't have it and we may not have it. Now, the breaking news now, ballers, is that the Viking Atlanta game may be in hiatus at present. Makes absolutely no difference to Smash because he has Delvin Cook and they're going to rest him. So I don't really care. However, here's who it does hurt. One, meat curtains, because his quarterback is who? Russell Wilson. He's on a bye. Who does he start this week? None other than Matt Ryan of the foresaid Falcons. So we need to have a contingency plan. Did you happen to see, did you
Yeah.
hear Mort's contingency plan? Or should I
I
go over
did,
it again?
and no, I mean, I remember the scenario where if you have a guy that ends up playing like a Tuesday game, let's say, and then that game gets canceled Monday night, Tuesday, you can't edit your lineup while your guys have played. And he offered the suggestion that you take the highest point scorer at that position and plug him in. And I mean, I agree to making a change to an extent, but I don't think you just plug in the top person of that position. I think maybe you plug in the top projected guy before the week. So, like, for instance, let's say Meat, if he would have missed a guy on Tuesday, if he would have had somebody playing that game, he would have plugged in Chase Claypool with 42 points. There's probably a 1% chance he would have started him this week. You get a free win if you just plug in your highest bench guy.
Well, that idea would be what you would call a modified best ball scenario. Best ball, of course, being you don't set your lineup each week. All right. For those of you who are not familiar with it, you basically, it picks your top players. You get a win or you get a loss. That's best ball. We're not going to best ball. But his suggestion that, look, it's not best ball, but the best ball, a true best ball philosophy would be to plug in the next highest guy at any position. That'd be a true best ball philosophy. But now we're narrowing it even more by saying you play a person at that position, highest score, he plugs in. And you're saying narrow it down even another level and go with projected before the week. So that offers another.
Well, I would think so because I would think so because, going into the week, you're likely more to play the higher projected guy if you knew that game was going to be canceled.
Yeah, but isn't that a personal decision? Not everybody goes by what the projections say. I certainly don't manage my team that way. I go with who I
Sure,
feel.
but
I don't know. What do you say? Who would be your next best option and you ask them and you
I
tell
mean, if
them,
we could make that work, I mean, it'd be a lot extra work for the commissioners to field in those extra messages on a week in, week out basis. But that is what I'm doing in my other league that I am commissioning, and it's been working so far. I mean, we haven't had a game cancellation, but I just say, hey, you got Josh Allen going on Tuesday night. If he isn't playing, who do you want to plug in?
after the fact, right?
No, before Sunday's kickoff. It was like, okay, you got a guy playing Tuesday night, but if that game ends up getting canceled, who do you want in? But you can't look at any of the stats if none of the games have started.
Well, what if the games though are this whole time I haven't had my headset plugged in. Anyway, what if they're canceled like that Tuesday night game or or any game with only 1 day notice? You have to have a contingency plan in place because you're not always going to have the luxury of asking an owner who he wants in. I don't think. I may be wrong on
Yeah.
that, but and so I think we have to have a policy that is automated, is simple, so that I guess what we'd have to do is take it to the league and offer each of the options and have 4 people weigh in on it, because that's probably all who will weigh in on it. But they can't say that they're not a voting member of the board of owners. So I think that's what we're going to have to do. The vote will be open for 1 week. So
Yeah.
your voice not heard
Yeah.
is what you will abide by.
And like, yeah. Well, yeah. And then like for your situation, if it could be a noon game on Sunday that gets canceled an hour beforehand, and you don't have access to change your lineup.
No.
So it could be any game. So yeah, it'd be hard to develop something. You basically have to rank your quarterbacks. Like if my top guy can't play, I want this guy. If he's not playing, I want this guy. You have to like rank your whole lineup almost.
Well, it could get to that. I mean, that might be a secondary contingency plan, depending upon how the year goes, because contingency plans are no different in fantasy that they are in real life. In fact, they affect fantasy more than real football uh, because of the whole contingency plans thing. But the NFL is doing the same thing. They're dancing around, missing butterflies, and I mean, they have a contingency plan in place, and to the best of their ability, they're going to have this season continue on to the end. And it could be a chore. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even fully sold on the Ledger side that says we're going to have football all year. I don't believe that that's a certainty. And what a shame if we can't look forward to the next week's game right after the next game's over to set your lineup. And I know that's
Yeah.
what you're doing. I know that's what you're doing. I know how you roll. Right away Monday, boom, it's dialed in. Look at them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your lineup a little bit, Laces. I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel about your lineup? How do you feel about your rookies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, week in and week out, I like my lineup choices. I've dealt with a couple early buys already with a couple cancellations and whatnot. But going forward, looking at buys, I don't really have 2 guys on my team with the same buy that I would potentially start at this point. So
Ooh.
I'm pretty happy with how my roster's shaken out for not having to worry too much about buys at the flex option.
Well,
As far as my rookies, let's see. I took Judy early in the auction, and he's starting to shine. He definitely is. It's hard to tell how good he can be without Sutton in there with him on the IR, but I mean he's looking promising, and hopefully by the end of the year he can find a starting spot in the lineup.
well, Drew Lock is due back this weekend, so that definitely ups the
Yeah.
Judy stock. So
Yeah. And then my other auction, I took Tua, and I kind of knew that was going to be a wait and see, probably next year. I mean, if he gets some action this year, great. But I figured Fitzmagic would be in there, so
Yeah, good call there. That was kind of developing for the future. That was a good call.
yeah,
Um, it's these bye weeks is really what we're coming to now, and if you're synchronized by the fate of the fantasy gods, probably likely, then you have pulled a good lot there because um, bye weeks are killers, but it all comes down to depth. And now I'm facing bye weeks, and you know most of my heavy hitters are out, so I'm tr-
yeah.
I'm still cobbling together some wide receiver ones, but I'm into the RB2 and threes now. So, but anyway,
Yeah. Well, I think one thing your squad has going for it is I think Edmonds will be supplanting Drake soon. I mean, they'll keep giving Drake his shot, but Edmonds, all he does is put up numbers when he gets his opportunity.
yeah, excited about Chase Edmonds as I was when I first plucked him off the undrafted list because he's an undrafted free agent, and I like guys who come in, they have a chip on their shoulder, they feel they have something to prove, and they're pissed, and they're good. They're good athletes, and so that's the clubhouse that we have. We have guys that uh, have a certain chip on their shoulder. Alan Lazard, what? Where's the love? Okay, now he's getting love, and he'll be getting love when he gets back. Guys that just want to fight through. But let's go over a couple of the other rookies that you ended up picking up.
Uh,
You picked up.
looking over my roster, I don't think I have any other rookies besides those two.
You got to be kidding me! You've only got two rookies on your roster.
I only had three in the draft, and I got rid of my fourth rounder, Eno Benjamin.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I lost some draft capital when I was making trades for Zeke and some other guys that are in the starting lineup. So
Well,
yeah, not quite the 12 that Crazy had.
no, but still, you did a similar strategy what I did to a certain extent. Um, I traded draft picks and I traded players and I made 13 trades, still unprecedented in one
Yeah,
trading season. And I got rid of draft capital. I acquired a little draft capital, uh, and I added young players. I added a bunch of young players who are 1, 2 years in the league, and
yeah,
and so I'm going to next year. I still have a slot, and I think I have a second or certainly a third and fourth. So, um, well, that's certainly a dichotomy on your roster compared to Mort's because he drafted 12 rookies. Okay, 8 of him made his roster this year. Think
yeah,
about it. 8
yeah,
rookies, and he's starting 3
yeah.
this weekend. So something to be said there. I mean, I'm starting one. I got Visca Chenault running in, who is starting to really excite me, and I'm getting a half chub, as Dylan would say, on his abilities, on his upcoming abilities. So uh, so
Yeah.
that's
I
what
mean,
you.
my strategy. Sorry, my strategy thus far has kind of been though a modification to Crazies, where if you look at most of my roster, they're second or third year guys. I don't have the rookies, but I got a bunch of young guys
Oh
where
yeah,
I've been kind of offloading all my older veterans.
yeah. You've got some young. I mean, listen to it. You got Boykin, second year guy. AJ Brown, second year guy. Harry and Nikhil Harry, second year guy, right?
Yep.
Isabella, second year guy. Judy, rookie. Metcalf, second year. DJ Moore, third year. Traquan Smith, second year. And Schuster, probably fourth year.
Yep.
So that's a lot of youth on that in that bullpen there that you're
Yeah.
looking at. So um,
Yeah. I mean, starting the year, I had Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen, but I mean, as of today, I traded Keenan Allen, and I mean, I gave you Amari for the Joe Mixon deal.
hmm yeah, you definitely beefed up your running back core there. I mean, Mixon got 31 touches last week in a tough game at Baltimore. So you can't say, what would Zeke have got, right? 15 carries for 14 yards. I mean,
Yep.
he's done that before. So if you're getting 31 carries, my friend, you are going to be in good company on Sundays. So
Yeah.
you've got some good weeks out of Mixon. Mixon's my boy. I think Mixon is a high level talent, and I think he can really produce. So I think you're going to be happy with that. He might be out producing Zeke on some weeks. I'm quite confident of that, but I hope he does for you.
Yeah. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, once I lost Saquon for the year and I basically only had Zeke on roster, I got a little nervous only having, one back that I could play. If Zeke went down, my season was done. So
Well, you certainly
having
were after.
Mixon there definitely helps.
You've been after Mixon for a year now, at least, if not
Yeah.
longer. And I said, no, I love my boy. He's family, man. And at last, you needed him, and I made a good trade. You made a good trade. And so when you wonder if you got the better deal or not, that's a good trade. Okay. If you're weeping and crying for a week, maybe you didn't do so good, but it should hurt a little bit if everybody hurts a little in the trade. And some people need to hurt a little bit more in this league when they're trading than others, but we won't go into that right now. Um, you've got a very stout stable now next year. I don't know how you'll probably compete for the title because you've got Zeke, you've got Joe Mixon, and Saquon frickin' Barkley. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could trot out three, or you could sit. Uh, I mean, who are you going to sit? If all three are producing on a high level, you won't be able to sit either one of those three. You'll only be able to start two, even though you can easily start three receivers. It might become a conundrum for you if they're all putting up
Oh
25 a
yeah.
week. So anyway,
Yeah. I mean, right now with my current lineup without Saquon, I mean, I'm happy with starting, five different receivers with those two backs.
oh
I'm
yeah.
already having to bench two, and then next year, you had Saquon and the two auctions, and I'll probably be making a lot of bad decisions.
Well, you can't win. I can't win anyway. So John and I have decided that you really can't win. And so he's like real negative and caustic, and he'll just be just Joe negative energy. And at last, he'll just flip a coin. And a couple weeks ago, it came up Henderson, and so he's rolled with Henderson now. So that's how he's decided because he was making the wrong choice each week. So and now that
Yeah.
Joshua Kelly's on by and he really hasn't been producing, he doesn't have a hard decision there uh, with his two backs there. So Henderson and Gaskin. So anyway, what do you think your upcoming matchup here before we close her down here with you got Crazy and looks to be Crazy -1, or in other words, a push. I went through this game on the week 6 previews as you'll see coming up tomorrow, but and you'll see my thoughts certainly on it. What's your feeling on it? Do you feel you have a chance, or do you feel you'll walk it out or walk through it, or what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, my one question mark on, I guess I got two on my starting lineup. Is Juju gonna be Juju, or is he gonna be last week's no-show? And I'm counting on him to step up, and if he can put up his normal numbers, that definitely help. My other questionable spot in my lineup is at tight end with Tunyon. He's got a couple good games, to his career that have been good, including
Yeah,
last week. But if Devontae comes back,
hard to trust. Hard to
is he going
trust.
to get a target?
Hard to
Yeah,
trust.
but I got to start him with Hunter Henry on bye. But I feel solid about the rest of my lineup. Looking at crazy here. I mean, he's got a good squad. I think he's got a lot of young guys, and uh, I mean, looking up and down, Marquise Brown, CD, Evans, Henry, any one of them could have 3 touchdowns. So I'm thinking it will be a high-scoring game, and should be a good one.
I certainly do think so. I haven't looked yet, but I'll have to see what the game times are for all the players to see how early or how late it will be decided in the day. Um, but Juju, I think Juju is a quality bet. Juju stocks high, trending high. I think they're gonna do very well. They're facing the last ranked pass defense in the league. You got Big Ben coming in there with Deontay. I thought I hurt my back. Johnson, and then you've got Claypool. Um, I certainly hope he's not a freak of nature and that he is going to be dominant from the start, because that hurts Deontay stock to a bit. But Deontay doesn't need to be the number one alpha male there, because before he was hurt, he was the most targeted wide receiver in the league, tied for the 23 targets in 2 games. And so I think Juju's a good play this week. So I think it's going to be a hard fought game. And you offloaded Dalton, and he's going to have a good game this weekend. Um, I'm going against CeeDee Lamb there in Dallas, so I think they're going to have a good game. But overall, yeah, a lot of good thoughts here. Were you going to bring up some breaking news, or did we go over that already when we first started?
Well, yeah, I saw something come across my news feed that it sounds like Le'Veon is going to the Chiefs, which will be
Oh
a
God.
big factor for a lot of our owners in fantasy.
Oh, uh-huh. Boy, I was hoping he'd go to the Patriots so he didn't affect anybody's rosters.
Yeah, yeah, I had heard that he might be going to the Dolphins, but it sounds like he's going to the Chiefs. So hopefully
Oh,
that boosts Mahomes for me, but maybe they're just going to run it more, so it might take away some. He could be splitting carries with Hilaire, which would hurt Meat, and could take away targets for Kelsey or Tyreek or Hardman, or you never know. Let the
well,
rich get richer in Kansas City.
yeah, and I think he's out of the Jets, which he hated Gase. Gase didn't like him. I mean, you get that divorce and you get a new marriage, and life seems to be better. It's brighter. The birds are chirping more often, and you excel. And it happens in a lot of careers. And he's still got life in his tank. I mean, he's still an elite athlete. You know,
Yeah,
he just screwed himself. And so I think he's going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been a little bit not a factor at the goal line. And so I think when they get down inside the 10-yard line, they're going to have Le'Veon Bell in there. So that's certainly going to
yeah,
hurt Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's certainly in the beginning. I think it'll hurt Helaire's touchdown rate unless he can get in from outside the 15-yard line, which he will because he's electric. But yeah, you can't be jumping up and down for that signing there in Kansas City if you got stock in Helaire at all. So, but
yeah,
you've got
yeah. But one
Holmes.
thing also, yeah, but 3 years ago in Le'Veon's prime with the Steelers, when he put up 1,000 yards rushing and receiving, he definitely showed that he can line up in the slot and be a good receiver route runner. And with Andy Reid, I could see him put him out there in the slot alongside Hardman, Kelsey, and Watkins and whatnot, and making a difference out wide.
Well, yeah, that's certainly a different dynamic. I don't know if was he used that way in New York. Do you know?
No, not so much in New York, but definitely in Pittsburgh.
Well, Adam Gase kills offenses, so he'll be ridden out on a rail out of New York. He's not going to last the year. He's a cancer, and he's been a cancer everywhere he's been. So anyway, a lot of good thoughts. Laces, thanks for coming on the program today. I don't know if you have any closing thoughts, any nuggets that you can share, fantasy gold, anything, words of wisdom. But it's been a pretty good podcast. A lot of good information out there. So we'll have to reconvene a little bit later in the year and kind of do a pre-playoff push and discuss those options and how people, and discuss a little bit more of the other teams and their playoff push as we get down into that 10-11 game area.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks for having me. And I guess one thing I'd like to say is, I'm glad the league brought on CC Fall Guy. Him and I talk and text more than most people know, and it's good to have him aboard.
Yeah, I think Fall Guy is a nice addition. I mean, he's a good owner. He's swinging some trades. My God, not fairly complex trades too. I mean, he's doing the day trader deal, so he's down on the stock market floor. So he's grappling. I would call him a grappler. His team, okay. I would say he's a grappler. So we'll see what happens with Fall Guy.
Yeah.
But I think he certainly has a chance to qualify for the playoffs with that lineup. So we'll see who gets in. So anyway,
Yeah.
thanks for being on the show, and we'll chat with you later.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Greg.
All right. Bye-bye.